Welcome back to TalkNorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com.
I'm going to be on my best behavior tonight, little man.
I hate it when you call me little man. I think that was the beginning of the show, by the way.
Yeah.
One of our typical polished openings. Michael Russo just talking to random people. To our best fan here. This is the Russo-Souhan Show. He's Michael Russo from The Athletic. I'm Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune. We are live at Tin Shed in Savage, tinshedmn.com. They've been hosting and sponsoring the program for a long time. We appreciate you all coming out on such a cold night. We'll tell you more about Tin Shed a little bit later. Some new business to take care of. New sponsor, Gray Duck Vodka. That is Chad Greenway's vodka company. Minnesota. They're also over at the Minnesota Sports Awards tonight. They're everywhere. We appreciate them jumping on board with us. We'll tell you more about their business a little bit later. We also have a new show on the program, our Go for Sports show, hosted by Marcus Fuller and Ryan James. We're going to be expanding a lot. You might even notice we have new equipment. Brandon has new stuff. The network is taking off. We appreciate everybody who's helped us get to this point, including our other sponsors for this program, Twill in the Edina Galleria, Fixologyrepair.com, Tony Hoagland, your State Farm agent in Champlin. And again, check out tinshedmn.com for if you live in the Savage area, if you're ever down here, drop by, have some food, check out a game on the big screen, check out everything they have to offer. All right, so we've been doing this for a long time. We've covered 1 million games each. And a lot of times you go to the arena, you go to anywhere you're going to cover a game, and you get done and you go, man, nothing really happened. I still got to write something, nothing. Then there are nights like last night. Great ceremony for Michael Koivu. Mm-hmm. Guys flying from all over the world to visit with him, including some great personalities. The team lays an egg at first, rallies. They end up getting a point but losing. And then in the postgame, Zach Parise says, man, we should be looking at the 4-on-3 a little bit more. And then I asked Boudreau about that in the postgame. And here's what happens. So Boudreau's up there. It's pretty obvious nobody else is going to ask that question. So I feel like, all right, I'll do it. Bruce, what do you think about Zach Parise saying you kind of need to work on the 4-on-3 a little bit more? Do players of that experience really need to work on something like that? And Bruce, I can't do it. I can't imitate what Bruce did because my eyes might get stuck back there, and then I'd have to have surgery or something. I mean, Bruce's eyes went about back here. And he did this, and he breathed heavily. He looked at Michael like, did he really say that?
Yeah,
and Russo goes,
yep. And he definitely, he was, the roll of the eyes was right at me. Like, it was like an are you kidding me roll of the eyes. And then he was looking for affirmation. And I was just like, yeah, I mean, he said it. And so then he tried to be politically correct, but then he definitely took some pot shots and things like that. It wouldn't be such a big deal if this just wasn't sort of a trend here. I mean, this is the third or fourth time that there have been little subtle things like that. So it is interesting because the Wild, if they don't practice the 4-on-3, they've only had one this year. I looked it up today, and they scored a goal on it. So I am on the one thing on this. Like I get what Zach's saying, but I also get what Bruce is saying. It's 2 minutes. 4-on-3. He's putting 4 guys that should know how to win a hockey game in overtime on a 4-on-3. Go do it. And then one guy's without a stick, too. So I didn't like the personnel to start the 4-on-3 to begin with. I think they should have gone with 3 forwards and a goal and a defenseman. I would have gone with either Dumba or Hunt. I would have even maybe considered Hunt last night because Dumba was having an awful game and he's in a string of bad games. And it's not like he's scoring goals. And then I would have thrown out somebody like a Fiala or Zuccarello out there. Fiala or I get why Zuccarello's out there, but a Fiala or a Zucker too. I just think that they could have used a third forward out there, and I thought that Ryan Suter was way too deliberate on the 4-on-3. He looked off Dumba a couple times out there, which was kind of bizarre. And we're starting to see what the injury of Jared Spurgeon has done to Dumba and Suter right now. They're, because the Wild are short-handed back there, they're really starting to overplay those two. And the last 3 games, they've really started to struggle a bit here. So we'll see if today's day of rest does something for them, and we'll see a little more energetic 2 players tomorrow.
As we expand the network, it might be helpful if you follow us on Twitter at Talk North Pod. You'll see new shows. You'll see the releases of this show as soon as they come out. I want to thank Brandon Morton, our longtime producer, and our next live show here at Tin Shed, 7 p.m. December 30th. It'll be fun. It'll be kind of our holiday show. So Michael will wear something really creative, I promise. Of course, should we talk more about the Parise thing, or is it just kind of a one-off? That's all there is to it?
Yeah, I mean, my guess is that they'll have another meeting tomorrow. Parise and Boudreau on a string of meetings after these type of things that have happened this year, and it's just, it is what it is there. You asked the question, Bruce reacted. It made it a story. There's no doubt about it. But it also, the other thing here is that the team's been playing well. Zach's been playing great.
Yeah.
I just think sometimes that the players do need to bring some more accountability. You can be frustrated with the coaching all you want, but you were the 4 guys on the ice that didn't score the goal. And it's been the same thing for years. I mean, they're just a deliberate-looking power play. And whether you think they should take time in practice to practice a situation that happens very rarely in a game more as a player, that's one thing. But the reality is that those 4 guys just did a really poor job that game. And they're 4 guys that have thousands of games of NHL experience, make a ton of money, and should have the ability to score a goal whether you practice or not in a hockey situation when you're up a man in overtime in a situation where you need the point. Like we could talk all we want that the Wild are playing better and have points in 12 of 13 games and 10 straight games at home. But you know what? By getting one of their last 4 points in a span of 4 days, they went from a playoff spot to going into tonight's action being 4 points out of a playoff spot. That's what just taking your foot off the gas for 3 days does in the NHL. So all that good vibe that happened in Tampa after that huge win to get back in a playoff spot has been ruined the last 3 days by by laying an egg at home last night. Luckily, they got a point, and by getting blown out in Carolina. So there's a situation. You're playing a conference team. You got 4 go-to guys on the ice. I think Zach would have been a little stung if all of a sudden he was on the bench last night and didn't get to play in that situation. Sometimes you just, as a player, you just got to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I didn't get it done. And, and I think everybody knows how much I respect Zach and all that. So I don't think it's a huge deal. But in this case, I do think that this was, the other cases I saw Zach's point last night. It was sort of came out of the blue and unsolicited, and it was a little surprising. And you asked the question, and it certainly became a storyline afterwards because I think Bruce was stunned by it. And his response was so real. His response was like, for the first time, it was a real response by Boudreau there, and obviously he wasn't happy. And my guess is that Zach's going to hear about it tomorrow. No doubt about it.
Brian from Tin Shed gives away his tickets to promote this place and our show. If you'd like to win Wild tickets, come on up, fill that out, drop it in the fishbowl. You have to be here to register for it. You also have to be here to win the tickets. And we do appreciate everybody comes out. And it's a great thing Brian is doing, again, to promote Tin Shed and TalkNorth.com. Remind you about Tin Shed. TinShedMN.com is the website. As you can tell from this room, they have a lot of parties. It's a great place to bring kids or big groups, sports teams, company holiday parties. They have jumbo pretzels, new additions to the menu, jumbo pretzels, pot pies, 2 new burgers, a lot more. They have tons of deals, and they have coupons on their website. Go to the website, see what their 2-for-1 deals are, their beer deals, their pizza deals, and they have coupons that you can bring in and get great deals on what is already very reasonably priced food. Tin Shed, in Savage, tinshedmn.com. The reason it's so interesting to me is it feels like ever since Parise and Suter arrived, they have had more than a normal player's influence on what happens with the organization. I still remember people telling me, not you, but other people in the organization telling me that, Parise would want to dictate when he first got here where and when they practiced even. We know that Suter's friends with Leopold. Do you think that bothers other people in the organization, or do you think it's...
I haven't seen that this year at all. I do think that, if that exists, I never heard the Parise thing with practice and all that stuff.
I heard that from a couple people.
But, look, I think this year, it hasn't been at all an issue. The one thing that I will say about this season that has been really impressive to me is that this team is getting along really well. Everybody's buying into everything. And it's genuine. So, I do think that Billy Guerin and Craig Leopold meeting with a lot of these players before the season and giving them a voice into what's been the issues here and trying to get everybody to play as a team and not individuals has worked in a large way. And so, I just think last night was, and the reason why I'm also hesitant is I don't want Zach to feel like he should be muzzled in post games as well. To me, that's why I don't want to make a huge deal of it, because Zach's entitled to his opinion, and I think it's refreshing that he says it. In this case, I think we have just the right to agree or disagree, and I just think on this one, the timing was suspect just because, again, you're four really good players. You got 2 minutes. You're up by one man in overtime. One guy breaks a stick for 30 seconds, and four great players couldn't get it done. That's on them, not the coaches. It doesn't matter if they've practiced it a ton or not. I can tell you the Wild practice a lot of situations a ton in practice and stink at it. So the reality is that it comes down to execution as the players. So I don't think that this has anything to do with Suter or Parise. Maybe it's not staying in their lane or whatever.
Save that sentence, Brandon. That was pretty good. So let's talk about Koivu now. Really cool ceremony. I thought it was handled very well. It was kind of subtle and understated, but still made the point.
It was probably very Mikko Koivu.
It was perfect for Mikko.
Subtle and understated.
And they had the right people there, and they had people flying in from Europe. So I'll just ask you your reaction to it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I think it's awesome the way the Wild do stuff like this. We saw it even just with every type of when Niederreiter came here and they did his tribute. The Wild do this stuff first class. They're a first class organization, and so I give them a lot of credit. I would give everybody behind the scenes that put this together, and it was a ton of work to do it. It's a big financial thing too. It's Craig Leopold and the organization that's paying for these everybody to fly over in from Vienna,
and I'm sure they're first class international flights.
Yeah, exactly. And so. I just thought it was really classy. I thought the video tribute was really well done. I thought these guys coming on the ice and hiding them for a couple days was really well done. And for the Koivu haters out there that just think that this guy is a disrespected leader in the locker room, I just think that you got to read the stories that have been written about him. My three in the last couple weeks, and what these guys heartfelt said. These are not normal quotes said about a human being. He is immensely respected in that locker room. Now, does he lose his mind at times and become uptight? Even Granlund said it during the thing yesterday. He's a very unique individual. He's stubborn in a way that he believes things should be done a certain way and wants them done a certain way. And he's a very strong personality that way. But when it comes down to it, he's extremely respected by his teammates. And that to me is the bottom line there. So it was just really neat. I think it says a lot that a guy like Gaborik, who's from Slovakia, who was a superstar on this team when Mikko first started even, is willing to fly in here because he has such respect for this guy. Brodziak Schultz, I think we all know how much they love him. Those stories have been written a gazillion times. Backstrom as well. Ralston was really bummed he was coming, and something came up in his life that he had to stop, that he couldn't come anymore. But as of 5 days ago, he was on his way here. So it was just a neat thing that they did for him. I thought Mikko was genuinely touched as Mikko, he held it together. I was very interested if he was going to start crying on the ice, because you just can't imagine Mikko with tears in his eyes. And the guy's got a heart of stone, man. He just, he kept it together. It was pretty funny. And then I know they had a really good time in the after party yesterday.
And, guys like Schultz and Backstrom and Brodzak are some of the best people who have played for this organization.
Yeah.